You guys want to be cowboys? See, I've been a professional athlete for 20 years, and I'm still competing. 20 years, the game has changed. Understanding my why is what compels me to move forward. And I'm here to tell you that you can't have $1 million dream on a $2 why.
Get up out of your seats, put your hands together, make some noise, and welcome to the stage, Tyson Durfee!
With the top left back and the sunshine shining. Cowboy, baby. West Coast chillin' with the booms whining. I wanna be a cowboy, baby. Riding at night 'cause I sleep all day.
All right, funnel hackers, how we doing? We doing good? Are we excited? Before I get going, can we give Russell, Todd, and the whole team at FHL a big round of applause? Come on, make some noise. Show some energy. There we go. Guys, I told Russell backstage a minute ago that this place to me feels a lot like what heaven would feel like. We have so many cultures, so many people, so many ages, and so many people that are willing to just come in and help each other. And I love that. I love it because our helps our mind and our spirit and our heart. Guys, I'm here to show you how to make a massive shift in your life, even if you've never done it before, because I know some of you solopreneurs out there just getting started, trying to make it work, are struggling. And maybe you're a teacher, or maybe you're an individual who's trying to shift from one thing to the next thing in your life. And trust me, I've done it numerous times. Now, first of all, before I get going on all the stuff, I want you to know that the love of my family and my God pushes me forward to do everything that I do in life. Awesome. Thank you so much. This is my amazing wife, Shay, my oldest daughter, Praise, my middle daughter, Risen, and my son, Tyson, and we're cowboys. The whole family, we're all cowboys. I'm a World Champion Rodeo Athlete. I've had multiple brand partnerships with billion-dollar companies like Polaris Ranger, like Toro. And guess what, funnel hackers? A couple of years ago, I became a funnel hacker. Yeah, there we go. Before I get going, it wasn't always this way for me. You see, I grew up on a farm in the Midwest. It was incredibly cold where I came from in the wintertime. I just remember, struggling all the time, to be honest with you. To say that we were broke was an understatement. This is the barn that my family lived in right before I was born. My mother, my father, and my two brothers lived in this barn. They put rugs out on the ground to keep off the dirt. My brother slept in there on a mattress on the ground, and we built fires there to stay warm. Now, the Midwest, it gets to 5 degrees, 10 degrees, sometimes 0 degrees. Imagine what it would be like living in that in the winter time and how cold that would feel. And, growing up on the farm, we worked 16 hours a day just to keep the lights on and just sometimes to keep enough food to eat. There was a lot of times we didn't have enough money for food. And I tell you this because if I'm a world champion and I came from that, what can you achieve? What can you do? This is beyond the poverty level in today's society. But this is where I came from. And I came from there to here because I was willing to believe in myself. I was willing to push past a lot of things. So today, real quick, I want to show you how I went from this to the young guy that started roping on a horse to a world champion. But I'm here to show you my cowboy framework. Okay? You guys want to be cowboys? All right. Who's willing to bring the energy? Say yeehaw. Yeehaw. Who's willing to go all in? Say yeehaw. There we go. Who's willing to cowboy up? Say yeehaw. Yeah. All right, the cowboy framework starts with C. Number 1, you must have clarity for the thing that you want. As a young man, I daydreamed all the time about being the best in the world, doing the work it took, and then what that would mean. See, my dad was a trainer. Much like a lot of boxing trainers, they live at the gym. My dad lived in a barn with his horses. We lived there with him. We were tied to it day in and day out, but I would daydream. I would daydream about the life I was going to have. I said, Dad, I want to be the guys that come by our place to train that are on TV. I want to be that. And so I would tell you, if you're one of those individuals, you're like, I don't know what I want to do. I want to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm trying to make this shift. Follow your dang daydreams. What are you thinking about? Have you ever thought about the way that you think? If you're thinking about something, follow your daydreams. The next thing is proximity. You got to be around people who love what you love. Funnel hackers, are we around people who love what we love? Yes. All right. You got to be in proximity. The proximity will inspire to keep going when the times get tough, because you know what? The next thing in the cowboy framework is you got to overcome. Now, in overcoming, you have to align your life in a way that supports the future that you want. And what happens a lot of times is you guys are getting literally roped down by things, right? What the heck? What? I'm getting roped. All right, you guys are getting roped down, and you're trying to make a shift. You're trying to do the next thing. You're trying to take the next step in your life. But what happens is they said something about me, about my past, and you know what, I can't. And then you get enough courage and you say, no, I don't believe that. I'm going to keep fighting. And then you think about, you know what, I don't have enough money to chase my dreams because I have mouths to feed. And all of a sudden you shrink back. But I'm here to tell you right now, the number one thing that you must do is you got to dig deep. You got to dig deep in your heart, and you got to bring forth, and you got to break free. You got to take the ropes off. You got to throw them on the ground and say, no more. No more. Can we give it up for Colette and Bart? Yeah. The truth is, most of us who are kind human beings, like I know all of you are, because I see you in the hallways, I shake your hands, I show up and try to bring love, and you bring love back to me. We want to say yes to everything. We want to say yes to everything that comes our way. And the truth is, you say yes to this. You say yes to this and yes to this, and pretty soon you're saying no to your funnel. You're saying no to your family. You're saying no to the things that actually matter in your life. There we go, showing some love. So you got to quit saying yes to everything. You got to get mega focused. As a young man, and I have a hard time sharing this, my life was really bad when I was young. When you grow up the way that I did, there's a lot of things that come along with that, with addictions, with fighting and all this stuff. And I carried a lot of beliefs about myself, like I know a lot of you carry about yourselves right now, that just are not true. They are not true. And this is the point right here. When you're chasing that new thing, you really have to dive into this and say, no more, no more. I'm going to overcome. I am going to shift my life. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to go to the next level. And you know what? I'm a champion. Can you guys say that? Say, I'm a champion. Say, I'm a champion. I used to sit in front of a mirror in my early teens and say that to myself over and over and over and over again, because I wanted a way out. I wanted a way to a better life. I wanted a way out to freedom. The next thing is, when you're overcoming, I know you might say clarity is the same thing as why. You must understand your why so deep that it compels you to move forward. The one thing I would tell you, and a lot of people, we're focused on making money, right? We want to make money, we want to have businesses, we're entrepreneurs. But your why must be so much deeper than that to stay hooked in the long game. See, I've been a professional athlete for 20 years, and I'm still competing. Now, 20 years, the game has changed in 20 years. I used to be the young hotshot, and I'm the oldest guy in the arena, to be honest with you. But the truth is, understanding my why is what compels me to move forward. And see, many years ago, my dad and stepmother came home from the doctor. And I was training for the National Finals Rodeo, which is the equivalent of the Super Bowl in my game, okay? And I noticed my dad, he comes in and he's kind of down. He's looking down. He's not saying much. My dad's a tough cowboy. I have never not seen my dad wear a cowboy hat, long sleeve, boots, jeans, his entire life. He does not even know what an iPhone is. Like, he is not that kind of guy. He walks in, and I could tell he was down. I said, Dad, what's going on? He said, we just got home from the doctor, and Mary Beth might have cancer. And in that moment, I felt my heart just like sink because they had just gotten married. And I knew that it was going to be a tough road ahead, or I thought it could be. In that moment, I get done with my training. I'm still thinking about Mary Beth and what could be happening with her, but I'm thinking, how can I add value? How can I help her? How can I lift her spirits? And then the light bulb goes off, much like that moment that every single one of you have had when it comes to your funnel in your business. I said, I'm going to wear pink all the time for her. Every time I compete, every single rodeo. I don't care if it's in Australia, Brazil, Canada, America. I'm going to wear it every time, and I'm going to do it for her. Thank you. So I go to Mary Beth, and I said, Mary Beth, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to wear the shirt. I'm going to do it for you. So every time I'm competing, every time you see me on TV, every time I go somewhere, you know that I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for you to lift your spirits. And her face went from down and sad to like lit up. It was lit up. Her face was lit up. And the reason I tell you that was because your why has to be so deep, that it compels you. And I'm here to tell you there's nothing wrong with making money. But once you get the big house, and you get all that stuff, your why must be so much deeper because you will have to reevaluate yourself as a human being. If your why is for a house, if your why is for a big thing, big this, big that, once you get all that, you'll have to reevaluate your why and come back to it. Your why, my friends, should compel you to take action, just like this pink shirt. Now, every time I go to a rodeo, I have people walking up to me saying, that's the cowboy in pink. That's the guy in pink. It's not Johnny Cash, the man in black, but I'll take the guy in pink. I'll take it any day of the week. People come up. I hear their stories. I hear how it shifts their life, how it moves them. And I'm here to tell you that you can't have $1 million dream on a $2 why. So take the time to clearly define what it is that you want. Define your why. The next thing is, you gotta master the basics. How many of you guys left here and said, I'm gonna be a funnel builder? Is there anybody left here that thought, I'm gonna be a funnel builder? Anybody in the crowd? Come on. There we go. There's like 10 of you out there. What? No. You gotta master the basics, guys. Myself. You gotta do the basics until you become great. Once you become great, you can never, ever, ever forget about the basics. You must go back to basics. Myself, I went to my dad. I said, Dad, I want to be a national finals qualifier, maybe even a world champion someday. He said, son, you got to go to work. I'm like, Dad, I'm already working 16 hours a day. Like, I'm taking care of the animals. I'm cleaning the stalls. I'm helping you ride all the horses. After school, I'm going to shoe horses, which is like clipping horses' feet, to make a little extra money so I can put gas in my truck. He said, yeah, you're working on everything else but your skill. And it hit me like a sack of bricks. How many times do we work on everything else except the things that move the needle, right? That next morning I said, all right, Dad, no big deal. I'm 14 years old at this point. I am living by myself. My dad does not live with me at this point. I am managing the ranch at 14 years old. The next morning, 4:30 a.m. rolls around. Alarm clock goes off. Guess who's up out of bed? I am, because I have a dream. I am, because I want to go. 4:30 a.m., 4:30 to 6:30 a.m., I'm working on myself, my skill, that thing that's going to give me freedom, okay? And never forget it. I learned how to rope. I worked on my tying. I worked on all that stuff. Then I fed the 30 horses and 200 calves, and then I went to school. By the way, I didn't tell you, I'm ADD and dyslexic. I was in every learning disability class that there was. We took, and I got made fun of all the time in school for being dirty Durfee because I took one bath a week that I shared with everybody else in my family. So I had a lot of stuff to overcome, but I was able to overcome it because of my dream, okay? Thank you. Never forget about the basics, you guys. I went to my dad, I say, all right, 4:30, I'm doing the work, I'm doing the practice, I'm a nobody early on in high school, get into junior year, senior year, I'm a state champion. All because of mastering the basics. All because getting obsessed with the basics. You see, if you want to go from step 1 to step 10, you can't jump 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got to go through them all. And you got to have them all in your memory bank, in your mental toughness. The reason that people are not more mentally tough is because they rely on what this whole thing called hope or luck, right? Hope and luck is good, but if you put in the work, you create your own luck, okay? You got to get obsessed with the basics, which is the next thing. Getting obsessed with that thing that you want is totally a good thing. If they think that you're absolutely crazy, then you're right on target. Yeah, right? Right? If they think you're a little different, man, I don't get it, that's okay. You're right on target. I got to ask you guys a question. Funnel hackers, are we phenomenal? Say yes. Funnel hackers, are we phenomenal? Yes. Here's the thing. I know you're phenomenal, but you can never do things normal and get phenomenal results. I'm here to tell you that today. Remember that each and every single one of you are phenomenal. Just hear that still small voice. See the cowboy in pink whispering in your ear. Are you putting the work in today? And not just working hard, but working on your craft. One of my mentors told me, I said, man, I'm not doing good in my business. Yeah, I'm an okay athlete. I'm a good athlete, but my business isn't where I want it to be. I said, but the stalls need to be cleaned, and I need to shoot this content, and I got to do all this, and I got to do all this other stuff. And he said, stop doing everything and only do what matters. If that's build a funnel, then do that thing. I promise you, it will work. You got to get so obsessed with the basics that you almost get lost in the process. Think about Russell, guys. You think that man says, oh, it's 5 o'clock. I put in 8 hours today. No way. And you guys are entrepreneurs. Get lost in it, right? Understand this, that it's your path. This is nobody else's path. If you hear the voice of uncertainty whispering in your ear, you know what? My parents think I need to go to college and and be a doctor or a lawyer. If you don't love being a doctor and lawyer, don't do it. Build a funnel, okay? It's your path. It's nobody else's. Come on now. It's nobody else's. Listen, if you get really excited and you go to somebody and be like, I got it all figured out. Guess what? I'm going to build a funnel. And they say, what the heck's a funnel? Then you're right on path. Has anybody ever had that happen? I mean, I know I was so excited about building my funnel about roping, and people didn't get it. They're like, no, you have to do a clinic. You have to have people come to your place. You have to teach them how to rope one at a time. I'm like, no way. There's this guy named Russell Brunson, and he taught me about a funnel, and it's going to be awesome, and it's going to change my life. And then I put an Instagram post out. I said, if I did an online course, which has not been done in my industry at the time, if I did an online course, how many of y'all want to pay monthly or one time? And this guy named Bart Miller messaged me back. And then we started a great relationship with Bart, right? And so the thing is, many people aren't going to understand your dream. They're not going to understand your shift. They're not going to understand that next step. But that's part of invention. You can never let their fear steal your freedom. Can I get an amen on that one? There we go. You can never let their fear steal your freedom. All right, so here's the deal. I have a bonus for you guys. True funnel hacker for anybody ever do a bonus? Like 3 people do a bonus? You need to start doing some bonuses, guys. It'll help your conversions, I promise you. The time collapse bonus. I'm going to tell you a quick story about Tony Robbins. I'm 16 years old. I got a book by Robert Kiyosaki named Rich Dad, Poor Dad. There we go. We've got some rich dad, poor dadders in here. I am very broke. Very broke. I am not the coolest kid in high school. I had my front teeth knocked out, and so I went without a tooth. So it just keeps getting worse, guys. I had long red hair with a mullet, too, so I was like Joe Dirt. Like, totally. But I'm trying, man. One thing I had was hard work, okay? So I'm working hard. I get this book. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Assets, liabilities, get rid of liabilities, only buy assets. I get thinking, man, I could be a real estate investor. Yes, 16 years old. We got people laughing at me already over. That's good. I said, 16 years old, I'm gonna be a real estate investor. In that moment, I said, you know what, I'm gonna call some realtors and see if I can get them to show me some real estate. I got like 15 grand in my checking account because I've been working my tail off. I saved every cent. And guess what? Click. Nobody would show me a house. Not a single one of them. Nobody would show me a house. Guess what? I'm 16 years old. I'm driving an old dirty beat up pickup truck. Of course. No big deal. Am I going to let that stop me? No way. I got fiery red hair. I'm ready to get it on. Let's go. So I start breaking into houses at that point. I start breaking into houses. No, this is a true story, you guys. I start breaking into, I got it to this day, I can break into anybody's house, bam, like that. These houses were all abandoned where I came from. I came from a very lower middle class area. The houses were all abandoned, every single, not every one, but a lot of them. So I jimmy the lock on this house and I get in. And anybody that's ever flipped houses knows how bad a foreclosed home smells, right? I step in there. I'm like, first of all, I'm making sure I don't get shot. I'm looking around like, okay, nobody's definitely not here. The boards are up. Okay, nobody's here. I'm stepping over bags of disgusting trash everywhere. I can smell the cat and the dog. I mean, it was so bad. Step over this bag, and this box inside this plastic bag touches me on my leg. And I'm like, man, that's new. I know the feel of new. I've never had anything new in my life. I'm just going to open it up and see what's inside, right? I'm 16. I open it up, pull it out. Cassette book, Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. I'm like, that's mine. I am stealing this today because I want a future. I want to unleash the power within. That's mine. So I'd steal that. The only thing I've ever stolen in my life, but I stole that stuff. I pop it in my cassette player because going home, we had cassette players and nobody remembers that probably. Pop it in. I'm like, I listen to everything. I dive into everything. I read all of Tony's books. And the one thing that I realized from Tony is like, I can create the kind of human that I want to be. I don't care what my circumstances say. I don't care what they said. I don't care about my past. I don't care about how much money I don't have. I'm going to be a damn champion no matter what. And I believe it in each and every one of you. Okay? So at that moment, I steal that book, I go through all that stuff. Never met Tony, always dreamt about it, bought all his books, read all his stuff, did it all. It's really the foundation of why I'm the guy in pink that smiles all the time, because I knew I could create the kind of human being who I wanted to be. I get an invitation, an opportunity to come to Funnel Hacking Live 2020. And I'm like, man, I am way out of my comfort zone. Like, at this point, I don't have a funnel that's doing like 0 cents, and I'm seeing people who are like super awesome, and I'm like, I am nobody. I'm nobody in this crowd, but I don't care because I'm used to being nobody. I line up the door. I know Tony Robbins is going to speak. I line up at the door 1 hour before everybody else. I cut my lunch short so I could get back to line up at that door. I said, I watch Tony on YouTube. I know that he's walking these aisles, and if I can get on a corner, man, that's the highest traffic location. I have a chance to get in front of him. And guess what? If I'm the only guy in the house with a cowboy hat, you know what? He could pick me, man. I could get an intervention. My mind gets lost in all this stuff. Yeah, no, I'm serious. My mind gets lost in all this stuff that I want to do. So I line up, and I'm like, I'm blocking the lady out, and I'm blocking the other guy. I'm like, no, this is my freedom. You ain't getting it. They crack those doors. I'm running like heck through there. I get the corner seat. About halfway through him talking, he says, all right, somebody tell me about your business. And I'm like, ooh, me. He's like, and I know what's going through Tony's head. It's like, cowboy, like, why are you even here, right? He's like, all right, cowboy, tell me about your business. I stand up, I talk 30 minutes with the man who changed my life forever from the time I was a little kid. There we go. Thank you. The thing is, guys, you can never underestimate a strategy. My entire life, I have lived out in a strategy. And the truth is, if you want to time collapse your journey and don't take 20-some years like me, the number one thing that you got to do, and you have to make this priority, is you got to find other people who are on the same path as you that are just a little bit further ahead of you. Then you got to add value to them in every way possible. Show up on their birthday. Do kind things for them. In my case, I like to make everybody belt buckles because I love belt buckles, right? And everybody needs a belt buckle. Add value to them in any way possible. Then you time collapse off their knowledge, right? Russell talks about it all the time. 2 ways to work to get close to somebody. Work your way in or buy your way in. How about both? invest in somebody, even if you got to pay them, invest, because I promise you, I spend money all the time on coaches and programs and all this stuff, and it's the only reason I'm here. I promise you that. There we go. The next thing is you have to make this a priority. Meet new people, add value to them, and then when this is what a lot of people miss, you got to leverage those relationships. When you meet somebody, connect them to other people. If they're a credible human being, be a person that's at the center with people coming to you in all directions. Then you are the hub on the wheel, and things come at you left and right, more opportunities, right? This will time collapse everything that you do, and I promise you, this will put you on the fast lane to success. You don't have to do it the hard way like I did it. If you follow this framework, this will put you on the fast lane way, way quicker. All right, guys. So let's go back through the cowboy framework. C stands for what? O stands for what? Y. W stands for what? B stands for what? O stands for what? Y stands for what? Listen, guys, it's your path. Never forget it. It is your path. It is your dream. It is your desire. It is your opportunity to be here, to go out and not only change your life, but here's the best thing. If you change your life, you change your wife's life, you change your kid's life, you change your friend's life, and then we make this world a heck of a lot better place. Guys, I love you all.